I have seen that before with a neighbor's dog. And as with anything, I think that an animal can become obsessed. For example, the ball, throw the ball, right? And do you get dogs who are obsessed with always wanting to chase the ball? They'll go get the ball and drop it at your feet. Yeah, so laser, ball, it doesn't really matter. What are you helping to create for your animal? So it may be easy and convenient to use a laser, but you know, go do something else too.
I just think there has to be somewhat of a balance to it.
Of course.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is, when you've been communicating with an animal, have they ever talked about their owners?
Well,
I know that would seem logical.
In my experience, yes. I have had, I did communicate one time with a little Boston Terrier, and the main concern for that dog was not his own health, it was the health of his mom. He was very concerned about his mom. He wanted his mom to be healthier. Didn't really get into the details of it, but he did express concern, and he said, "No, by the way, can you get the ball under the chair for me?" So he gave me a little bit of information, and I think he might have thrown that in for verification for the owner, saying, "Oh yeah, the ball is under the chair."
So that was someone would see you in person and bring their animal or bring their photograph to you, and they would say to you, "Has my dog or my cat have something that it wants me to know?" Or do you operate on that level too?
That's what I prefer to do. I would rather first ask permission, make the connection, and then ask if there are any messages that the animal has for the owner.
Do you think animals have phobias?
Oh, sure. Yes. Fears of getting into a car, fears of being home alone. Why do some dogs chew up the furniture?
A lot of conditioning possibly, right, on something like that. Yeah. I remember when I was 18, I was, I'll tell you, this is another funny story. It always seems to happen when you least expect it. And in my innocence, I was picking up my children's father, who was in the Navy, and I was about 19 years old, and I was down in San Diego, and my hair was real long, and I had this shiny little clip on the top of my head. You know, a barrette. A seagull came down and grabbed onto the clip. This is a true story. And it was a big one. And its wings were doing this above my head. And there were about 100 or more sailors all waiting for, you know, transportation. And I was screaming bloody murder, running down the street with this seagull on the top of my head like this. And I wonder, you know, did he get traumatized? Because he certainly traumatized me. And from that point on, for years, I had a bird phobia. And I finally have overcome it, and it took me 20-some years to finally overcome it. But out there in nature, it's amazing. I wasn't animal sensitive. I didn't grow up in a home that was animal sensitive. And the reason I'm telling these stories is from you. I have learned so much about becoming so much more aware of the vibrational life force of an animal, whether it is a pet or it is a little bee that's out there, a bird up in the tree. I think that that's what they can teach us, is to become so much more aware and in the now. What's some of the other things that animals teach us, do you think?
Appreciation, being present and being appreciative of where you are, who you are. You mentioned birds, and I just want to mention spiders. I appreciate spiders. I appreciate the value that they have in.
Well, I know they're medicine. It doesn't mean I want one crawling on me.
No, I don't want them crawling on me either. But we've had spiders in our home. Who doesn't, right? And so I usually get a cup. I don't squish a spider.
Yeah.
I get a cup. I tell him to go in the cup. He goes in the cup, and I
Take him
imagine,
outside.
I picture the shrub that I'm going to throw him into.
Yeah.
He gets in the cup, and I throw him out in the shrub. So
Yeah.
everybody's happy. He's happy he's
Yeah.
outside, and I'm happy he's out of my house.
Yeah.
But the appreciation for their position on the planet.
Well, you know, cats nibble all day long. Little, you know, that was another thing I didn't understand, because the cat was constantly coming and getting me to feed it. And I thought, well, I just put the bowl on the floor, you just, you know, eat. And I had to keep picking the bowl off the floor because of what the problem with I was having with the ants. And it dawned on me that they just nibble all day long. They don't have one meal, like a dog, you know, meal in the morning, maybe a meal in the evening, just nibbling along. And I thought, well, that's kind of what I would like to do, is kind of nibble a little bit here and all day long, because I'm not a big eater person, you know. So I think it was one of the things that my cat was probably trying to teach me, is just eat a little here, eat a little there, you know, it's better on the digestion. The other thing is they stretch. Dogs and cats,
Yes.
when they've rested, they get up and they move their body into all these incredible stretches. You know, I think that that's the other thing that we probably need to do more of, right?
Yes, and play. Play is a big one. Gracie reminds me about that all the time. If I'm in front of my computer for too long, she will bring the toy over, and sometimes she will crawl into my lap. This is a 65-pound dog, lap dog.
That's a lap dog.
At my computer. It's, Mom, come on, let's go. You've been here too long. It's time to do something else.
Well, do you specifically see cats and dogs, or do you see other animals? In other words, if I called you up and I had a horse,
Sure.
would you be able to communicate with a horse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cows?
Why not?
Why not? Rabbits?
Why not?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you wonder if you were in a veterinarian's office, what all the animals were sending telepathically and messages around as to how they were feeling. I bet, you know, as a sensitive, you could go in there and you could really sort of feel what's going on.
Probably. And I would like to suggest also that the people who work there are usually pretty good at what they do. They wouldn't be
Yeah.
in that business if
Yes.
they didn't love animals.
I think they're called to it, don't you?
I think so,
Yeah.
yes. And when I talk to my vet, he says, oh, I get to pet them once in a while, you know. He's, you know, being all medical and surgical, and he says, but I get to pet them. And you can just see in his heart how much he loves animals. Is he communicating with them? Probably.
Well, it's like being
Sure.
also, you would want a pediatrician to love children.
Yes.
So, you know, any type of specialty in those areas, you'd hope that that professional would love and enjoy to be doing something
Same
like
with
that.
a pet groomer,
Yes.
a trainer, to pick up on subtle cues. For example, a pet who is at the vet, or a pet who is having a behavior issue that a trainer is going to work with and teaching the person, not the dog, by the way.
Yes, really.
To pick up on the subtle cues. And so that's really what I like to promote in teaching people Reiki, being more self-aware, more grounded, more balanced themselves. It kind of opens the door for the possibilities of greater awareness
Yes.
for not only themselves, but for their animals.
Well, you know, Rosemary, when I think about it, I think one of the questions that people might want me to ask is, what are some of the bigger mistakes that people make in nutrition for their animals?
Ooh,
Because I think it's huge.
it's really pretty huge. Between the dog food companies and medical, you know, pharmaceutical companies, they pretty much have people by the neck. Unless,
No, let's put it this way. The animals and the humans are having a similar experience.
They are. They really are. And that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me on that. But I think that if if we become more aware
Yes.
of what individual needs are to have a healthy body, then the choices we make could be different. For example, canine appropriate diet is not grains.
No.
It's not carbohydrates. A wolf out in the woods is not going to be eating corn.
No.
Right. So read the labels and become more aware. Look for high protein, no grains, and maybe even consider a raw food diet.
I was going to say vegetables.
Yeah,
A little, not a lot, but enough to...
The jury's still out on that. You know, the people have different viewpoints on vegetables or no vegetables, but protein for sure. And I like to add certain supplements in just to make sure that they're getting all their vitamins and enzymes. So it is possible to raise your level of awareness, become more educated to make a better choice. And I want to point out that I believe people make the best choices they possibly can based on what they know.
What they know.
And,
right.
you know, I was there too with Ginger. We bought the best dog food, we thought.
You thought.
We thought.
Right.
We bought everything we thought was good for her.
Right.
We did all the vaccinations, had all the vet visits, did all of that, and at age 6.5 she got diabetes. She became insulin dependent overnight. Wow, what happened there?
Right.
She wasn't overweight, but I think that with many people, they really are doing the best that they know, and I want to make that clear. I congratulate people on that part of it because they're doing it out of love, and that's the best you can do. Okay, now you know there's something more than that. Read and become aware and ask questions and go online and read books and find out what
Well, if they're
they
putting
need.
wheat in dog and cat food and it's got the gluten in it, which is affecting so many of us, we've become so allergic to wheat, I would imagine it is really affecting the animal's health. And I would also say that when you think about the fluoride in the water, and now our dog and cats are lapping up the fluoride. So, you know, it's just something that we all have to become very, very aware of, because whatever is happening to us on some level is affecting our health, and the health of our pets also.
And it goes the other way too. It's our pets, I believe, are the canary in the coal mine for us. They are living in our homes where we live, and they're walking barefoot on stuff that we don't walk barefoot on. And they're close to it, and they're breathing it, they're soaking it up and through their skin and inhaling it. And they're getting the chemicals we use to clean the home, or the sprays that we use in our home, disinfectants, flame retardants and Scotchgard, and I mean, you know, the stain resistant stuff. That creates a dust and we absorb it. And so science is showing us that we have a body burden of toxicity. It shows up in our animals usually first. So you might see, yes, you might see, for example, food sensitivities, allergies, stinky ears, stinky breath, hair loss, itchiness, you know, and these are things that you probably should take your dog to the vet too. However, be aware that these are symptoms possibly of a bigger picture, a bigger problem, an underlying problem that could manifest. So instead of putting an ointment on it or getting a shot for it, turn back the pages a little bit and really turn up your awareness to say, okay, what can I do a little differently? This is obviously having an impact on my pet, my dog, my cat, and don't use chemicals to clean your floor.